Your brain can make a single second last longer than it should, and it does this specifically when it thinks you might be about to die, not as a glitch, as a feature. The moments where time seems to stretch, where you catch every frame of something happening too fast to process, are your brain switching into a mode it reserves for situations it judges to be genuinely dangerous. The most important thing to understand is that time doesn't actually slow down. Your brain doesn't suddenly process more frames per second like a high-speed camera. What changes is how much detail gets encoded into memory during the experience. Under extreme stress or threat, the amygdala, the part of your brain most involved in fear responses, signals a shift in how resources are allocated. Attention narrows. Irrelevant information gets filtered out. Every available cognitive resource gets pointed at the threat. The result is a very dense encoding of what's happening, packed with sensory detail that wouldn't normally be stored. When you recall a frightening event later, your brain reads back this unusually dense memory, and that density translates to a subjective sense of duration. The memory feels longer than it was because it contains more information than a normal memory of the same length would. In one study, people reported that a terrifying free-fall experience lasted significantly longer than it actually did. But when researchers measured their ability to read a rapidly flashing display during the fall, a task that would require genuinely faster processing, performance didn't improve. Their brains weren't processing faster. They were just remembering more richly. The reason is straightforward. In a situation where you might be seriously hurt, every detail matters. The exact position of the threat, the specific sounds, the available exits. Encoding all of this gives you, in theory, more information to act on and more information to learn from afterward so you can avoid the same situation in the future. The subjective experience of time stretching is essentially a side effect of your brain treating that moment as maximally important. It's the same mechanism that makes emotionally significant events, first meetings, accidents, moments of intense joy, feel longer and more vivid in memory than ordinary moments of the same duration. This also explains the opposite experience. When you're in routine, unstimulating situations, familiar commutes, repetitive tasks, an ordinary Tuesday, your brain encodes very little. There's nothing new worth storing. When you recall that period later, the memory is sparse, and sparse memories feel short. This is why years can feel like they flew by in retrospect, even when you lived through every day of them. It's why childhood felt endless. Everything was new, everything was being encoded, and why adult life feels faster as novelty decreases. The density of memory is what your brain uses to reconstruct the felt duration of experience. So the next time something frightening happens and time seems to stretch, your brain isn't broken and you're not imagining it. You're experiencing what happens when your brain decides a moment is too important to compress. The same system that makes emergencies feel eternal is the one that makes ordinary weeks disappear. Whether time feels long or short is, in the end, a question of how much your brain thought it was worth remembering. If you want to learn more about this topic, feel free to subscribe.